We have had our beaches closed for over 1,200 consecutive days.
The EPA administrator is expected to visit the U.S.-Mexico border amid ongoing sewage crisis concerns. What the mayor of Imperial Beach is asking.
Let me be clear from the outset, this is a difficult budget year.
The major budget cuts the mayor is proposing.
Just watch where you're driving and just slow down.
Where some speed limits could be reduced.
Everyone is there on that collective mission to be able to clean up San Diego.
Tips on celebrating Earth Day today, as well as this weekend and even year-round in San Diego. It's 6 a.m. on Tuesday, April 22nd, and you're up with CBS 8.
Thank you so much for being here. 6 a.m. on your Tuesday. I'm Eric Connors.
And I'm Nada Irampour. And yeah, take a moment on this Earth Day. Appreciate the nature all around us.
Absolutely.
Of course, San Diego is such a beautiful place. Let's check in with meteorologist Evan Narani, keeping an eye on our skies. What can we expect?
So it's going to be another one of those cloudy starts to the morning. That's what radar is mainly picking up on satellite as well. But as we get toward the afternoon, we should be transitioning toward plenty of sunshine. Happy Earth Day if you're joining us from home this morning. You might notice that those clouds are stretching pretty far out to the east of our county. We even have satellite radar that's picking up on a little bit of moisture out in those clouds, but nothing actually coming down from them. Ramona's right now seeing a bit of fog, but besides that, we're actually doing quite all right for the morning stretch at a perfect 10 in Oceanside and Kearny Mesa and in downtown San Diego. Back to you.
Evan, thank you very much. This morning, leaders in the South Bay getting ready to meet with the head of the Environmental Protection Agency, Lee Zeldin.
He is set to tour the International Wastewater Treatment Plant as well as meet with his Mexican counterpart. CBS 8's Regina Yerita live near MCRD, where Zeldin will be arriving there in just a couple of hours here, Regina.
Good morning, Eric and Netta. That's correct. And later today, we'll know more about that meeting. But I do want to talk about how Mayor Paloma Aguirre has been at the forefront addressing the concerns happening near the Tijuana River, right, because of this sewage crisis. She's actually called on the Trump administration to declare a state of emergency. And she's even highlighted the toxic exposure affecting the public living near it. So she's hoping this visit will bring more help.
Are being exposed to hydrogen sulfide, which is a toxic gas that smells like rotten eggs, on a consistent basis.
And so later this morning, EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin is expected to visit the U.S.-Mexico border in response to the sewage crisis. Zeldin's visit will include a tour of the South Bay International Wastewater Treatment Plant, a helicopter tour of the U.S. southern border, a roundtable with community leaders, and a meeting with Navy SEALs. As Zeldin visits the region, local leaders are hopeful that federal attention will lead to more effective solutions and a commitment to long-term infrastructure improvements. Just yesterday, Congressman Mike Levin joined Aguirre for a press conference urging swifter action on the federal level. He emphasized the need to get shovels in the ground now and also advocating for the expansion of the South Bay International Wastewater Treatment Plant. So back out here, we do know that that press conference is expected to take place later around 10 a.m. We'll have more on that meeting, so stick with CBS 8. But for now, Eric and Netta, I'll send it back to you.
Regina, thank you very much for that. New this morning, the funeral for Pope Francis will take place on Saturday. Public viewing will begin tomorrow in St. Peter's Basilica, and the Vatican released new video overnight of the Pope lying in a casket with the Vatican Secretary of State praying over him. The pontiff died yesterday from a stroke that put him into a coma and led to irreversible heart damage. The San Diego Diocese says while they mourn his passing, they share in the joy that he is, quote, now with Jesus our Savior, adding that the Pope had a special affection for our border community and always expressed concern for the immigrants who journeyed through it.
Francis was very clear about that. That was one of his last messages on the day before he died, to care for migrants.
In his will, the Pope left instructions for a simple burial at a church dedicated to the Virgin Mary with a one-word inscription on his tomb, Franciscus. President Trump has confirmed he and the First Lady will attend the funeral.
This morning, we are getting a look at proposed cuts in San Diego that Mayor Todd Gloria has highlighted in his draft budget. It is meant to address a $258 million deficit. Cuts include closing libraries on Sundays and Mondays, reducing rec center hours, and removing all beach fire pits, closing some public restrooms. Funding will also be cut for art programs and the Humane Society. People who spoke at yesterday's council meeting said the future feels bleak for important programs.
We are part of the solution that contributes to San Diego's diverse economy. We employ more than 17,000 San Diegans in arts-related jobs.
These critical cuts would devastate our Parks After Dark program, which offers a safe, engaging evening activities for our at-risk youth.
Mayor Gloria says these cuts will impact every San Diegan, and he fears economic uncertainty could force the city to slash even more from the budget.
San Diego is facing serious financial headwinds brought on by broader economic volatility, including inflationary pressures, new international tariffs, and a structural budget deficit that we have carried for years.
While many programs face reductions, the budget actually increases funding for public safety with $29 million more to help hire more police officers and $24 million more to hire more fire rescue personnel. Later today, San Diego City Council is set to discuss a resolution to reduce speed limits.
It would lower speed limits from 25 down to 20 miles per hour on 17 heavily trafficked streets in many neighborhoods here. CBS 8's Chris Groh joining us live from one of them, North Park, one of the areas where city leaders want to reduce speed limits. Chris, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. And look, it's in an effort to make it safer for cyclists, for pedestrians, and even for drivers. Just about a half hour ago, we were right here near 30th and North Parkway, and we saw two people just completely ignore stop signs. Now, that's not going to necessarily be prevented when we talk about speed limits going from 25 to 20, but according to some of the community members that they spoke to, they believe that this is the right movement forward here from the San Diego City Council to make things safer for everyone.
It would work. Hopefully people would obey, but I think it's worth a shot.
All we usually see are parking ticket enforcers. It's rare to see a cop actually here for speed enforcement.
All right, so this is all possible because of a actual state law that was passed back in 2022 that actually made it easier for local municipalities to go ahead and change speed limits. So this is going to go from 20 down to 25 if it is passed by the city council today. This would include 17 sections of San Diego streets here, commercial streets, including parts of El Cajon Boulevard, Washington Street, University Avenue, Mission Boulevard, and this is something that has already passed the committee unanimously. So again, something that is likely to be passed here by the full city council, where they will have a vote later today. We are going to be hearing from some council members at 8 a.m. this morning before that city council full vote, which will take place. So press conference 8 a.m. Full city council meeting expected to take place sometime after lunchtime, about 1 p.m. And then if it is all said and done, we could see the new signage having those speed limits put up there. But some of those residents that we spoke to say they want to see more. They want to see maybe speed bumps and other type of enforcement measures that can be done to make things safer on these streets. Eric and Netta.
Okay, and in the meantime, please follow these rules of stop signs.
Yes.
The slow roll doesn't quite
The
cut
California
it.
roll, as they call it.
Live.
On the air.
No.
It's a pause.
I know, that's the amazing part. Is I'm like,
Count
you
to
see a
3
camera right in front of you, and you're still just going to roll right through. No,
California
it's
roll.
Not a suggestion.
Right.
It's a law.
Very clear.
Exactly. Very clear law. When we look outside, we've got overcast skies as we kick off your Tuesday. We expect every morning this week to look a lot like this, and that includes onshore flow, so a strong surge of clouds along the coast in the morning stretch. In some cases, that could manifest as some fog. In Ramona, for example, we're at half a mile of visibility, but out along the majority of our coastline, we're actually looking fine right now. 70 this afternoon across our inland valleys, a little bit warmer than what we'll see out along the coast, mainly because of those clouds that will hang on through about 11 a.m. 65 though, so not a lot cooler out across the coastline. Across the mountains, we're going for the upper 60s at 68 degrees in the deserts. Could be making it to the low 90s at 92 on that afternoon high. We've talked about how onshore flow is going to be picking up throughout the week, and what we're also going to notice is that those wind arrows are pointing not only from the northwest, but then essentially directly from the west, and that's going to help to encourage a stronger push of that onshore flow. It's also going to help exacerbate those wind speeds and gusts. So 10 to 20 miles per hour out there is really going to pull those clouds toward the mountains. And then when we look out across the mountains and deserts, especially. Borrego Springs could be at 45 miles per hour by Wednesday afternoon. So moving toward Imperial County, expect wind gusts to be particularly intense. This afternoon, we're going to be looking at mainly 60s along the coast, 70s in Santee and El Cajon this afternoon, Chula Vista 64, San Ysidro 73, Oceanside looking at a high of 66 along with Palomar Mountain, Rancho Bernardo 69, and San Marcos going for a high of 68 degrees. But right now, across the region, we're pretty mild, mostly in the 50s out across the California coast from Monterey all the way down to San Diego, although we are on the verge of hitting that 60-degree temperature, so we are the warmest spot right now along the California coast. Let's take a look at traffic right now. So far, it's been quiet as we start off the morning. You can expect it to likely stay quiet for just a bit longer, but as we get into the 7 o'clock hour, things really tend to pick up. We're already starting to see a little bit of congestion mid-span on the Coronado Bridge and then also on the northbound 805 as we start off the morning. Let's also take a look at your border wait times, where it is a 75-minute wait at the San Ysidro Port of Entry. It'll take you about an hour 15 or so. Otay Mesa Port of Entry should be able to get across much faster in about 30 minutes.